What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with 10 minutes of news from Taiwan and around the world. A Taiwan Health Ministry employee has been arrested on suspicion of leaking personal data over the course of 13 years. Police say that could include the private information of intelligence officials. The worker's employers say they presume she's innocent, but they've removed her from her job just in case. Stash Butler has the story.
Xie Yulian walks in for questioning behind her blue jacket. This government employee is suspected of leaking sensitive health data. Police arrested Xie on Monday night, along with another 2 people who were released without bail. Investigators are looking into whether Xie passed on the personal information of intelligence officials. Right now, it's unclear how much data she might have taken or what she did with it. Xie faces 3 years in prison if she's charged and found guilty. But human rights campaigners say her case is part of a wider problem, that Taiwan lacks oversight of government data access.
台湾并没有一个机制，就是我们在政府机关的资料，当这些资料被查询或者是被不同的政府机关串联的时候，人民并不会被通知。
And researchers say Taiwan can do better to ensure that data is properly anonymized.
有一点很重要，就是所有的系统在揭露的时候，一定要做到另外一个去识别，也就是遮罩。
台湾的个资法其实没有像就是欧盟或者是日本其他国家去就是去处理说，什么是假名化，什么是匿名化。欧盟跟日本的标准是只有到匿名化才是所谓的去识别化，但是在台湾我们常讲的去识别化，常常都只有假名化。
Taiwan focuses much of its energy on cyber threats originating outside its borders. But this case shows that without proper controls, there are substantial risks coming from within them. Klein Wang and Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has passed a new climate law. The bill aims to bring the country in line with international commitments to reduce planet-warming carbon emissions. Sally Jensen spoke to Zhao Jiawei of the Taiwan Climate Action Network about what the new legislation means for Taiwan and the future for life on Earth.
So this Climate Change Response Act, it's been a while in the making. And why is the passing of this act such a big deal?
This revision of the Climate Change Act, it has set out the legally binding net zero target. So that's a very important step. And also it proposed a new governance structures for the climate change issue, because traditionally all the climate change issue was kind of like a view as a authority of the Environmental Protection Agency, which did not have enough power to ask other ministries to promote, to prioritize the climate change issue.
This isn't Taiwan's first climate act. What is the difference? What are the major differences between this bill and the old Greenhouse Gas Reduction Act from 2015?
It did not have enough ambitions in terms of the long-term target, and the enforcement of that law is pretty weak because they don't have a strong governance structure. It did not consider too much about the adaptation issue, and for the past 7 years, we find out that Taiwan have facing several extreme events. We have to enhance our adaptation policy. So by this revision, we also add these elements about the adaptation in this new Climate Change Act.
Finally, what do you feel is still lacking from this act?
The first one is that it did not mention about the fossil fuel subsidy removal or fossil fuel subsidy reform. I think this is a very key element of the global climate policy, but the government did not take that into consideration. The second one is that we find out that the Ministry of the Finance, they avoid their responsibility to have a green fiscal reform. The last one is that we find out that citizen lawsuit, climate lawsuit, is a very important mechanism that make sure that all the authority and all the emission source, they have to fulfill their responsibility to lower the emission. But in this revision, we find out that in the meantime, the government don't have this kind of institutional capacity to have these kind of mechanisms.
A months-long ban on the catching and selling of fertilized crabs has come to an end. Ryan Hill-Kilpatrick has this report.
Back on the menu. After a 5-month-long moratorium, spawning crabs can be caught and sold again in Taiwan. Annual crab hauls had sunk to less than a third of what they were 15 years ago, so catching them was banned in August to help their numbers recover. In New Taipei's Wanli district, a center of the trade, it's hoped that the short-term solution can help local fisheries thrive again in the long term.
现在的资源越少，它不是只有螃蟹越少，它是比如说连锁管它也变少了，白带鱼也变少了，甚至有些鱼它已经几乎快没了。
Offshore fishing vessels were prohibited from bringing to port 5 crab species carrying fertilized eggs. If caught inadvertently, they had to be returned to the sea. Violators faced heavy fines.
开始发起的时候，当然有很多人反对啊。大家说抓回来为什么要把它丢下去啊？这个回来可以卖钱啊，为什么要丢回去？大家会想说啊，其他的鱼没有人丢，为什么只有我们丢？这个是比较不平衡的地方啊。其他也没有说啊，母的鱼不能抓。
Similar bans are already in force in other countries like Japan, the Philippines, and parts of Australia and the US.
像美国的密西西比或是马里兰，他们都有全年禁捕开花母蟹这样子的规范。那像日本的松叶蟹的话，它有特别规范，每年大概3月到11月才可以捕松叶蟹，那其他时间就是禁捕的。那因此每个国家针对不同的物种，它都有一些开花母蟹的规范方式。
In Taiwan, some are calling for the seasonal ban to be extended year-round.
我们希望我们的行业啊，能够一代一代的相传下去，不是说我们这一代做完就好了，几十年后我们还有螃蟹抓，我们还有螃蟹吃，这我们最大的愿望。
Despite disagreements over the ban, all parties are looking to ensure this outcome. Ryan Hill-Kilpatrick for TaiwanPlus.
A new study at Taiwan's National Yangming Jiaotong University has found a link between eating less and living longer. The team behind the research extended the lifespans of roundworms from 2 weeks to up to a month by feeding them less. The team says this is because restricting food helps cells renew themselves through a process called autophagy. The researchers hope their work will help develop new anti-aging medicines and maybe even medicines that slow aging without the need to diet. Taiwan is a country that's particularly proud of its international competitors. So to keep with tradition, we now bring you a story about a breakdance champion from northern Taiwan who's only in the 2nd grade.
You're going to want to keep count for this one. All right, you can stop, because this kid isn't coming down anytime soon. Hope you weren't holding your breath. This is Ling Li Na, otherwise known as Na Na, and he's Taiwan's latest breakdance champion. He might look like he's been grooving for decades now, but Ling is only in the 2nd grade. Last month, Na Na won the Under-12 1-versus-1 baby battle at the Battle Pro Series in France, besting competitors from Ukraine and Japan. But how did a 7-year-old get so good at breakdancing? Just ask his parents.
就爸爸带他练啊，到处去练啊。能击败这么多国家的小朋友，算很厉害，运气也是需要靠一点运气的。
When word of Nana's victory made it back home, well, everyone at his school was happy for him. But the teachers didn't seem too surprised.
努力有成果啦，因为他真的练舞练到都半夜这样子。
在体力还有舞蹈的技能上面已经是相当纯熟。
There's no doubt that Nana is extremely talented. But when push comes to shove, he works hard too. After all, learning to spend more time on your head than on your feet is something that requires years of practice.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally today, we leave you with images of surfers riding massive waves off the coast of Portugal's Nazaré. Surf's up. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.